pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next regular meeting is scheduled for Friday, October 25th, 2019 at 9 a.m. at the Community Center, 3500 Edgewater Drive, Sebring, Florida, 33872. Please silence or turn off your cell phones. Consent agenda. Minutes of the Board of Supervisors regular meeting held Friday, September 27th. Treasurer's report and golf financials, August 31st, 2019.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any board discussion? Any public comment? Chrissy?
Supervisor Stiegel,
Yes.
Supervisor Brooks,
Yes.
Supervisor Gilpin,
Yes.
Supervisor Hotelling,
Yes.
President Branson.
Yes. Action agenda. Resolution number 2019-10/11-38, a resolution to Thunder Lake of Sebring Improvement District to obtain control electrician for air and electrical services by piggybacking on an agreement between the City of Sebring and Griffin and Campman Air and Electrical Services, dated September 24th, 2019. Tanya?
Yes, good morning, Supervisors. Motion and a second.
Motion to approve.
Second.
I'm sorry. Okay, Tanya?
Good morning, Supervisors. Management is recommending to award a contract with Air and Electrical Services by piggybacking on an agreement with the City of Sebring, bid number 20-001, and this is to perform all aspects of emergency service work, modifications, troubleshooting, inspections, maintenance, and adjustments related to our electrical control systems for our wastewater plants, our water plant, and our lift stations, and everything related to our wastewater distribution system. The emergency response time will be 2 hours or less, and this agreement also has a termination clause for any time, and the hourly rates are listed, I have on page 20.
Sorry about that. The reason why we need this company is their expertise in the lift stations and is very needed here in this area. Anytime that we have lift stations go, it's just not a regular electrician that we can call in. We have met with them, and this is a 24-hour service also. So they're on call 24 hours, and the 2 hours response time is really big for us here, because if we get a lift station, if we get the water plant go down, we need them here right away. And I'm 100% support is to bring in this company. Tanya and I have met with them in Omar, and they're very well needed. They also do Sebring, and I've checked some references, and the references have all come back good. So.
Mike, I got just a question. I forgot to ask Tanya about it when we met about it, but I'm in agreement with this too, that we need this, but I'm concerned, or not concerned, but if something happens that's big, well, that will automatically go out to a bid or something like that, and these people are just to get it running, and if we have to do major stuff, it would.
This is maintenance, troubleshooting,
okay.
Emergency type work. Yes,
that's
sir.
why I didn't think it'd go right into them
This is
fixing
not a
it.
project-related type
Okay.
service.
Very good.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I assume this is comparably priced to what we're doing now.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Who have we used in the past?
We use Amcheck. It's an electric company, and we're trying to save money for the district. Actually, this contract has come in lower than their prices were their prices are right now.
Are we giving the guys that we've used in the past an opportunity to bid against this?
Yes. Well,
That's a
yes.
little, that was a little weak.
Well, okay, we've talked about pricing with them also. You know, obviously we're trying to get the price, you know, the best price for Sun and Lake, and they actually said that their prices are where they are right now. So this company has come in lower. Yes, we did give them an opportunity.
Who's bid lower?
Excuse me?
Griffith's company or?
Yes. Yeah, Aaron Electric.
And the guys that we used in the past, they can't beat the price.
No.
On page, who raised the prices from the original, what was originally submitted?
I don't have that in front of me, so I don't know what.
Well, I mean, it's on, if you look and see it, prices have been raised.
That was the.
So that's the bid document directly from the city of Sebring. So they changed
somebody
changed their proposal prior to turning it in on the deadline for city of Sebring.
I'd like to know
So
who
the
changed.
deadline
I'd like
was
to know who
due-
raised the prices. Was it the city?
Aaron
of Sebring?
Electrical changed their prices prior to the date of the bid being due. So the due date for this bid for city of Sebring was August 27th. So they might have put a proposal together on the 24th and then decided last minute on the 26th, hey, we're going to change our prices, and that was the locked-in price on the 27th when it was due. It was not changed after the fact, after the bid was awarded.
So who changed it?
Aaron Electrical made those
You think the
changes.
company changed it?
Correct.
And they submitted this the way it is?
Correct. This is directly from the city of Sebring's document retention through that bid process.
Don't you think that's a little strange to submit something like that that's higher?
Well, I'm sure, once again, through the bid process, maybe they had someone, a project manager, go out and quote it. Maybe the manager reviewed it at Aaron Electrical and they decided to change it, or maybe there was a mistake on there. I have no idea why those changes were made.
I don't know.
Correct.
I'd probably like to have the original prices put in. I don't care about the city of Sebring.
This is the city of Sebring.
This is
It's
City of
not us.
Sebring. This
Right.
is not
We're
submitted
just
to us.
piggybacking on their agreement.
Right, they submitted to the city of Sebring rate. They didn't submit
So we
this to
take
us.
it or leave it.
This wasn't ours, but we just
I guess,
piggybacked.
did the company raise it or the city of Sebring raise it?
The company,
Who changed the prices?
well, obviously, that's the company's bid.
So the company raised their price.
And they submitted to the city of Sebring. We are piggybacking on their contract for a lower price for Sun and Lake.
Well, I don't know. I just think it's strange that they would raise their prices on a form that they submit to for a bid. That's all. I guess just me. Huh?
I don't disagree with you, but nothing we can do. It's not up to us. We either take it or leave it. We're piggybacking on a contract that the city of Sebring accepted. If I understand it right. We don't have anything to do with it.
Because we're giving both contracts to this guy, so we're giving this guy a lot of our business, right? Because he's on the next one too. It's his company, right?
So is it sloppy? Yes, it is. If I were to put in a bid, I would have taken a clean page and rewritten it and then submitted it to the city. But I agree with you, it is sloppy, but these were the prices that were turned in prior to the bid deadline with the city. These documents are directly from the city.
The one good thing, Ray, is we can, if we're not happy with their service, we can let them go. So,
How much? Just out of curiosity, how much higher are they from the guys we used this year?
about $35 an hour, roughly.
These guys are $35 lower than what
Right,
they'd like.
right. The other company is $35 higher.
Okay.
Per hour.
So we're paying somebody for a control electrician right now $105?
$105 to $125 that's what we pay now, with no contract.
Okay.
The question I have is that the City of Sebring's contract was pretty much specified in their RFP, and therefore the agreement here had the company accepting all of the terms in the RFP, are we going to have our separate contract with the same terms, or how does that work for our piggybacking?
Yeah, the Tane will be negotiating a contract. So this is going to be if approved, this will be the company, but we'll have our own contract with them. And we can use whatever documents, but probably the exact same documents the city of Sebring used.
But essentially the same terms all the way through. We'll get our own certificate of insurance.
So is that something we have to vote on later, our own document?
No, that'll be in this. You'll be directing Tanya, like we do with all of our contracts. You direct her to negotiate a price based on these terms.
Any further board discussion? Any public comment?
Tom Costy, resident. Mike, do you have a record of the higher prices that you got from other contractors? It's available? $70 an hour is the basic price for one electrician.
Yes.
And you said the spread was how much? $35?
That's roughly about $45. It depends what, say number 2, see how that's higher, see if it's $100 an hour.
That's with a helper. That's an electrician with a helper. I'm talking about an electrician. Just the basic price, $70 an hour is this price.
Right.
And somebody else quoted, what, $105 an hour?
Yes.
And we could see that?
Yes. Mm-hmm. When they submit a bill, that's what they put on it. You can see it right there, yes.
Now, anytime in the contracting business, when somebody gets a contract, these are all small to medium-sized contractors here in Highlands County.
Right.
And when somebody gets a contract, which this is a sweetheart deal with the city of Sebring, the other contractors in the area who were unsuccessful get a little hungry. Are we locking ourselves in to not being able to go out for pricing from anybody else for the lifetime of this contract that we're going to sign? And will we then be in a position where somebody can pick up the phone from the office, call them and bring them out with no questions asked, just submit your invoice at these rates?
I guess my response to that would be, obviously these vendors aren't at hungry. They were the only company who decided to bid on the city of Sebring deal. So.
Well, isn't that surprising? Just a little history here, fellas.
We could potentially go back out to RFP ourselves and see if we can get other vendors to quote through the same process.
Well, this is the gentleman in charge of the building department at the city of Sebring. This is his brother. The gentleman in charge of the building department at the city of Sebring brought this guy into Sun and Lake when he was our public works director. This is a family sweetheart deal. And I'm sure that I'm not the only one in this room that knows that. You know it. You know what I'm talking about. Air and electric services. There's a lot of registered electrical contractors in Highlands County, and we've dealt with a lot of them. Mark Palmer, which happens to be this guy's sister, and the building department manager at the city of Sebring's sister. You guys all aware of this?
Nope.
Air and electric services started here about the time that we hired our previous public works director. He's not the only one that did work for us. His sister did work for us too, quite a bit. His sister installed all the lights on the tennis courts. I don't think we should get into this, and I would like to know, and I'll just one last question, David. Is the terminology in this contract such that this guy can complain if we bring somebody else in to do some emergency work? Is there an opening up for us to get out of this while the contract is in force?
There's no contract yet, but I think that was discussed, is that they would be able to terminate at any time. So, if that were the case, you'd have to terminate the contract.
you couldn't just bring somebody else in. You would have to terminate the contract, otherwise you'd be in violation of this contract.
Well, I think the question would be why would we need to bring somebody else in?
Well, maybe he's busy with something else. We've had contractors pull off this out of Southern Lake when they were putting fencing up, and they left for 6 weeks because they had another big job they had to go to. And we've made it easy for them. We've done that. I think we may have even done it over here on the work that's going on in the clubhouse. I just think we ought to go slowly with this. I'm very uncomfortable with locking in. First of all, I don't think piggyback deals ought to be done on labor. Labor is normally, that fluctuates all over the place. If we were buying refrigerators, that's something else. Or if we were buying trucks, that's something else. But if we're buying an open-ended time and material type contract from a general contractor, when there must be a dozen electrical contractors in Highlands County that are just as capable as these guys, I don't see why we would lock ourselves into this. And I understand how it happened at the county. You said that this was the only bid that came in at the county? The only bids that came in on our lights over on the tennis courts was this guy and his sister, who were also the brother and sister of our Public Works Director.
That's 5 minutes.
Thank you.
Do I understand that we can terminate this at will?
Yeah, that'll be part of their contract.
What was that?
I asked if we could terminate this contract at will. Then, if we don't like it, we can get out of it, and we're saving money going into it. So I don't see the downside. But I mean, I understand that there's a lot of people involved that are involved with each other, and that hasn't always worked out real well for us.
And this is a critical operation to
Yeah,
us.
I don't
and
think we really should have a contract with a 24-hour response, and we don't have that now.
We do not, and especially with the 2-hour emergency response.
Right.
And the breaker failures, the lift station issues and maintenance issues that we've had in the last 6 months, we need something in place.
If this is something that we all agree that we need, should we not put a bid out? I mean, throw a bid out there and see who responds and go from there? I mean, if these guys are the lowest, when the bids come back in, they're the lowest. No?
If we sign this contract, there would be nothing to stop us from doing that in 6 months exactly.
Correct.
I guess that's my point, is we improve ourselves and with doing this, and then you have the opportunity to see if you can improve it more.
Absolutely.
I would agree with Dan. Locking into the 2-hour emergency response obligation, I think, has benefit. As of this moment, we don't have a better offer. So I would be in favor of moving forward with this, given all the outs that are available to us down the road.
I'm not seeing where in the city of Sebring's contract they've got a at-will breaking of the contract. So that's something that we'll definitely need to negotiate. Page 8.
Could we continue of the route we're on right now, using the contractors that we have? We need a contract. We have to have something, we have to have something in writing that they have to show up within 2 hours. We don't have that now. Right now, if we're out there right now working we were out there 3 o'clock in the morning a few months ago, okay? That contractor did not have to show up, right? It's not his contract. He could have he could have said, I'm going to wait till the next morning till 7. 7 o'clock, and we would have had no water, right? So we need some type of contract. If you want to wait, maybe give it to the next meeting so we can research this a little more. I guess that would work, but we have to get someone under contract on this. That's the only thing I'm going to ask. I mean, Tanya and I have worked on this. It's hard to get contractors with the special, that know what they're doing on these units. A regular electrician cannot handle this, and that's why we want a contract. I don't care who we get, but we have to have something. We worked hard on this, even to meet with these guys. So, I mean, we need something. I mean, if you want to wait a month, fine.
Is there a response to Neil's question?
Yeah, he said page 8, and if you read on page 8, the question I would have there is if we truly do cancel for our convenience, there's an upcharge involved, and it's an unspecified negotiated upcharge at the time. So there is a risk there as to how we negotiate that upcharge, and otherwise, what is the term at which point we could cancel without any penalty?
Yeah, this is the city's contract. We're going to negotiate our own.
Well, I understand that. I'm raising the concern, but.
So you would anticipate a limit on the amount of damages that they could collect, or what?
Well, yeah, I mean, I haven't had the chance to read over this whole contract, but I mean, because we're going to prepare our own.
And then you'll bring it back to us for approval anyway, correct?
Well, I mean, no, not because that's what we generally when we approve it, we direct Tanya to negotiate the contract on the basis of the same terms and conditions. But noting what's been noted here at the meeting, we'll make sure we address that when that's being negotiated.
Okay.
Well, if you're going to be working on the contract, I don't like the idea of a 2-year renewal. I mean, I prefer not to have a 2-year renewal after the first year. I don't know why that. I don't want to lock in that long with one particular company. So when you renegotiate it or whatever you're going to do, I would like to see that changed.
Well, it's a 1-year deal, so if you're happy, then it renews for 2, but I mean, I don't care if it renews for 1 or 2, but you're talking about a 1-year contract.
It's a 1-year contract.
Yeah, and terminable it will. I mean, it'll be if we want to terminate it, we can terminate it any time. So,
bottom line is we save money day one.
Do you need to hear from me, or is it? Okay.
So what are our options?
I thought it was just a motion to approve, and that's it. Isn't there a motion on the floor?
There is a motion on the floor to
Okay.
approve sending this back to staff to negotiate the contract under the basic terms that are here. I guess the concern is whether we're comfortable with staff being able to do that to our satisfaction, or if we want to see it before it's finalized.
If we can't trust staff to negotiate a contract, we need new staff. I mean, this isn't a big deal. Shouldn't be.
I think the important thing is it fills a need. It does it at a competitive price. And whatever risk we have is relatively minimal. So,
Kenny, I just want to ask, just, it's a simple yes or no, but for all these questions that just come up, were they talked to you about in our meeting? Or is this all new stuff that was just brought out?
This was new information that was brought up today.
Okay.
Any further questions? Further public comment? Chrissy?
Supervisor Brooks?
No.
Supervisor Gilpin?
Yes.
Supervisor Hotelling?
Yes.
Supervisor Stiegel?
Yes.
President Branson?
Yes. Resolution number 2019-10/11-39, a resolution of the Sun Lake of Sebring Improvement District to obtain air conditioning and heating repair services by piggybacking on an agreement between the City of Sebring, Griffin Encampment Air and Electrical Services, dated September 24, 2019. Do we have a motion to approve?
Motion approved.
Second.
Any board discussion?
I just would reiterate the same concerns that get looked at in the contracting process, that we've addressed our protections.
This is the same deal, right, in case of emergencies?
Yes. Well, and services too.
I'm sorry?
Yes. And services too, like the quarterly maintenance, the quarterly maintenance and service.
So who does it now?
Right now, we use Long's air conditioning.
And have we gone to them and said, we're entertaining this, what do you think?
Well, we're trying to save money for the district, so that's why we added
I
this.
understand what you're saying, but have we gone to Longs and
Well-
say, this is what the deal is with this guy, we're thinking about piggybacking, can you meet the prices or beat the prices? If we haven't,
No.
I vote no, and you should.
No, we didn't. No, we did not. But we haven't been completely happy with some of the things that got done on the service work. So when this company came in, we decided to piggyback back on that.
This is less than we're paying now.
Yes.
So, if you're unhappy with the guys that we're using, I don't know why we bothered to wait this long if we were unhappy with them, but if we're unhappy with them, did we give anybody else a shot? Because I know there's other companies that take care of this type of product in the city. Or are we just going with this one guy because it's the city of Sebring?
So it came down to timing. We were prepared to prepare an RFP. We, were notified by City of Sebring that they were doing all the work and legwork, same what we would do. We would do the same exact process. So we were waiting to see who would bid. They got 2 bids on this, and Aaron Electrical just happened to be the lowest. So they went through the same exact specifications and process that we would do here at the district, and more than likely the outcome would be the same. So for us to go out and do the same work again just didn't make sense. So that's why we're proposing to go with Aaron Electrical at this point. For us to go to Longs, for us to create a contract, then we would have to go through this same process, through the RFP process.
I don't think I can say what I'm thinking. I mean, shortcuts, we're talking about serious stuff. I don't know why you would take a shortcut.
Well, it's not a shortcut. It's the same
Well,
thing.
if we put out, why wouldn't we put out our own bid? You're assuming that you know what the response to the bid's going to be.
We're not knowing what the response. It just happened within 2 weeks. So for us to think that new vendors would come into the game or want to apply and they didn't take the time and opportunity to do it for City of Sebring just doesn't make a lot of common sense, does it?
Yes.
So
This was
once
all
again,
awarded last month.
Huh?
This all was awarded by the city last month. Our ordinance allows us to piggyback in situations like this. We need an air conditioning company mainly in case of emergencies, and we've had several in the last 3 months, right? We even had to use another company in case of our one facility. We will use another company instead of Long. So we with 2 bidders in this situation just in the last month, we don't know what the outcome would be. It might be 2, it might be 1, it might be 4. But this does allow us to move forward in case we do have an emergency.
I'm not saying this is the wrong company. I'm just saying that we're set up to do things a certain way, and I don't know why we just don't do them that way. It may end up being the same result. Very possible. In which case, nobody would have anything to say on the board.
We piggyback all the time on county, Avon Park.
Paving, drainage work.
Right.
And now all of a sudden it's being questioned on our processes or piggybacking. So either we be consistent all the way across the board, or we can't pick and choose when to apply certain circumstances or reasons.
I'll make a note when the rest of them come up.
We have any idea what the annual spend is for this service? Has been historically? I mean, what are we talking about here? $10,000 or $100,000 or?
Less than 5,000. I mean, well, the emergency that we had recently was about a $3,500 repair. I know we've had some issues here at the community center. I don't expect any more than that, than 5,000 a year on the possibly. I mean,
The maintenance the maintenance is done quarterly, so it's not, we should be right around $5,000. Between $10,000 and $5,000. I mean, we can't control something, major.
I realize you can't predict it. I understand.
As long as we maintain it, we do the PM work. I mean, that's the first thing we have to do. And if we do that, that's a plus with us is the PM work. So.
Okay, my point is, we're spending a whole lot of time arguing about something that has minimal dollar value on an annualized basis. And we have language that we can terminate the agreement with. To me, it's foolish to continue this conversation, but that's my opinion.
Yeah, this isn't even a dead horse. This is a dead pony. We're beating it for nothing. I don't get it.
Any further board comment? Any public comment?
Me? I said this isn't a dead horse. It's a dead pony. It's not big enough to be a dead horse. It's only $5,000 a year.
If that $5,000 were listed in the contract, then I'd feel more comfortable about it. What this is doing is giving district staff the opportunity to just pick up the phone and say, come on out and do it without worrying about how much it's going to cost no matter what it is. I've seen the spread between this bid and who was the other bid at the city of Sebring? Might that have been Mark Palmer?
It wasn't Mark Palmer. It's mechanical services.
Okay. Just as an example, the one contract on the tennis courts, the spread was, the low bid was the sister at $82,000 and this company at $135,000. Those numbers go all over the place. And when somebody gets a contract, a small contractor gets a contract that he's locked in on for the next couple of years, his price might go up a little bit because he's busy. And the guy that lost the contract and needs the work, his price is going to go down. And that changes from month to month, depending on what's going on. I don't see why we would lock ourselves into this, especially if I heard right. Did I hear the attorney say that he hasn't read this?
This whole contract? No, I haven't read this whole
You
contract.
have not read this whole contract?
No, because this is not our contract.
Okay. I would suggest that we don't sign either one of these things until the attorney gives us a good, clear understanding of what the words say here. Thank you.
Does that have any effect on our ability to sign it if we postpone it?
This is not our contract.
I
This is the City
understand.
of Sebring's contract. We are going to draft our own contract. That's the contract that'll get executed, the one that we prepare.
So you can wait forever, but you aren't going to know until you actually start preparing our contract. Correct. So what we're actually doing is giving Tanya the authority to go negotiate a contract for $5,000, which is within her authority to do it anyway.
Any further discussion? Chrissy?
Supervisor Gilpin?
Yes.
Supervisor Hoteling?
Yes.
Supervisor Stiegel?
Yes.
Supervisor Brooks?
No.
President Branson?
Yes. Resolution number 2019-10/11-40, a resolution of the Center Lake Sebring Improvement District to purchase new service vehicles from Allen J. Fleet Sales for $59,519. Tanya? I'm sorry, we need a motion to approve.
Move approval.
Second.
Good morning, Supervisors. The management is recommending to purchase 2 of our new utility trucks from Allen J. Ford. The state contract with Allen J. on these 2 trucks gives us authorization to purchase them from Allen J. But they've also quoted us some National Joint Powers Alliance pricing, which is actually cheaper than the state contract. The total pricing from NJPA would be $59,519, which is within our $60,000 budget.
Both these vehicles are service vehicles. They'll be used for the water and sewer department. We haven't bought any vehicles for them in the last, 5-6 years. We need them. Each vehicle will be set up with all the tools on the vehicle, so when they arrive to a job, they'll have all their tools, and so they're not going back and forth. They'll be stored right, So it's actually a big plus for us to have these vehicles. I actually called around and got prices from other just to check, and these are the lowest prices that we can get. So.
What are we doing with the old ones?
We're trading one vehicle. We're only trading one vehicle in towards these. And then what?
It's an additional vehicle. The second vehicle is an additional vehicle to our fleet.
Right. We added a vehicle. Because what we're trying to get, what I'm trying to get away with, having 2 people ride around in the same truck all the time. When we have service work, there's 2 guys in it. I get complaints from the residents. Even some of you guys ask me why there's 2 guys in the truck. They'll have their own truck. They can go to the job. I mean, if they need a second person, they'll call that person to come help them. So it's going to add on to our service here. It's on the lake. No, so
We approved that concept in the budget. Correct.
yes.
Of course,
Exactly.
then you'll get complaints because they got 2 trucks on one job.
Well,
You realize that?
well, if your toilet's not flushing and and they get there and they flush, they'll be happy at the end of the day.
How many you got in your fleet now, if we go with these?
For the water department, we'll have 6.
You'll have 6?
6. But now, one's a stake flat body, so we'll be carrying like a generator, a welder on it and stuff. So when we have to go to the site, we'll have that. So
6.
yeah, 6.
And how many more are you going to buy?
That's it.
Oh, this is it now?
Yeah. And
So
my
you're just
term,
gonna
6.
rotate them?
I'm not going to ask for any more after
Are you
this
sure?
year. Absolutely.
Can you say that again?
You can take that to the bank.
6.
Because you won't be here, right?
That's because you won't be here.
That's what I said. You know. But we do need these vehicles. We do. I mean, it's actually, it's a plus for the service that we can give the residents at Sun and Lake. So, thank you.
Yeah, if we have a problem, we need to be able to respond immediately.
Right.
I get
Absolutely. And at night and stuff like that, they're gonna have lights on it. Like right now, we have to unplug a generator. They're gonna be set up for emergency work even at night. When we had a water leak, right? We had a tripod in the middle of the street with an extension cord. No, it's just not acceptable. So
That's one truck.
We're just trying to improve everything.
That's one truck.
Wow.
Each of those examples calls for one truck.
No, it's not. No. What if I have 2 leaks the same day?
Any further board discussion? Any public comment? Chrissy?
Supervisor Hoteling?
Yes.
Supervisor Stiegel?
Yes.
Supervisor Brooks?
Yes.
Supervisor Gilpin?
Yes.
President Branson?
Yes. Discussion item, Turtle Run restrooms. Board comment?
No.
What? Oh, what?
Turtle Run.
Turtle Run. I have a question on Turtle Run restrooms. Can somebody tell me if we were to pick option? Well, it doesn't matter. Option A or B. Where the location is off the left of the tee box on 10, correct? Isn't there a lot there, or am I mistaken? And if there is a lot, how close is the bathrooms going to be to that lot, and does that make that lot unsaleable? Is that a hello?
Drew has identified the number of feet. I honestly cannot tell you the number of feet from that lot.
Because I can see the squares. That's squares on the
Right.
left, right? So those are lots available to sell.
Right.
So how close are they to the proposed bathroom? Because they may, who's going to build a home, a $300,000 home next to a bathroom? That's my concern.
Your scale is 1 inch is 120 feet. So it looks like at least an inch to me, so it's 120, so let's say it's 100 feet.
I don't know the ownership of that lot. Do you, Omar, or can you look it up? I don't know.
But the bottom line is the back of the restroom, which is nothing more than a blank wall, is at least 100 feet from the back of that lot.
And the one we have several that are close to it now. Number 5 on Turtle is very close to a very nice house. It's the back of it.
The back of the restroom will be facing the number. The back of the restroom will be facing the number 9 T. Not T. I'm sorry. Green. Sorry.
That proposed bathroom location
The
is
front of
over a lot, is it not? That's a lot that thing's written on.
The red is our property. That's the proposed location. The front of the restroom will be facing the sidewalk that runs right in front of the building. The back, we're going to landscape it. We're going to, whatever we can do to minimize the look of the bathroom as you're on the number 9 green. So you understand the back of the restroom, number 9 green, front of the restroom would be on the sidewalk.
I'd like to know from Drew, before I would vote for this, how far exactly is that from the lot, so we can determine. Maybe we have to buy the lot. I don't know. But if it's going to be too close to the lot, nobody's going to buy it.
It's not too close. We've already checked with the county as far as the number of feet. It is not too close legally to receive
Well, how close is it? How many feet do you have to have?
All I know is that Drew told me that we can move forward with the proposed location if the board decides. I don't know.
I think the point that he's making is if it meets regulations, that doesn't necessarily keep it from impeding the sale of the lot.
I guess it is pertinent to know who owns that lot.
It's a privately owned lot.
So it's 100 feet from the back of that lot to the restroom itself. So it would probably be,
It's not 100 feet there. It's not 30 yards there.
your scale is 1 inch to 120 feet.
Between the sidewalk on that 10 feet to the back lot is like a 60-foot, 70-foot buffer between the rear line.
I guess the issue is you don't have any other place to put it that's not in a scrub jay preserve. Right. So you either put it here or you have to deal with the scrub jay issue.
That is correct.
Well, I mean, the other...
Is that correct?
That's correct.
I mean, I know we're trying to get a bathroom in, but, you know, if once you get to the 10th green, there's a bathroom right there. I mean, within 50 yards, there's a bathroom, which is the one that's on, 14. You just take the cart path and you're there. I just don't want to force the issue and spend $65,000 for a bathroom that, one, we may not need, two, is going to impede on a lot that we're trying to sell.
You have to know the bathrooms on 14T. If you're playing here for the first time, you don't know that.
I just want to thank you guys. I mean, I know you're trying to do the best for us, and I can't help that everything you do is questioned. I mean, it's just getting to the point that it's just, but I appreciate it. I think the golf course would need a restroom there. I just want to I mean, I don't care how all this comes out. It just seems like everything that's brought up is going to be 3 months in litigation or 3 months in backing stuff up, but I appreciate the work you guys do. That's all I can tell you.
Thank you, Mike. What I'm looking for from the board today is either option A or B, or have a B1 and a B2. This is something that was approved during the budget process. We've proposed option A, which does have a side for ice machine and or some sort of a vending machine. Option B is strictly bathrooms with an ice machine and storage counter area. And of course the doors, we could alternate on either side.
I personally think the vending is a good idea so that you don't have to have a snack cart when we're not busy. And that's one of the reasons, if you got 10 people on Turtle Run in the summertime, you still want to run a snack cart because they need something to drink because of the heat. If you have I mean, I realize it'll cost more to do it, but I think it makes sense. That's just my personal opinion.
Yeah, me too.
Whatever it costs should be able to be recovered in a reduction in expenses. There's no way you even break even running that snack cart during the summertime.
So is the idea that the vending machine would have snacks as well as drinks, or just drinks?
Both would be ideal, but I don't know that there's enough room to do it there. I don't know what size those vending machines are.
Well, what's the plan with the bar cart? You going to have a bar cart on Turtle that has snacks?
Yeah, really, I run the bar cart more in the summertime just so I can have somebody out there and have eyes on our members. I mean, if it's hot, I want to make sure everybody's hydrated. I mean, the bar cart has another function really other than just selling sodas and beers, you know. So I mean, I could easily set a, if I have 40 tee times or less, I'm just not going to run the bar cart, but I just don't do that. So I just want to, we still have some eyes out on the golf course in case we have the public misbehaving, or we have eyes if somebody gets sick. I mean, there's another reason I have the bar cart out there.
I guess I would question how much use a vending machine would get there, and the maintenance of
it wouldn't be mine. There's Mr. Stiegel is right. I think where we can, I mean, it'll make a little bit of money, but there are certainly some negatives to having it there. And correct me if I'm wrong, but in the past there was a soda machine out there, and it just because it was out in the middle of nowhere, and it was vandalized at night and broken into many times or tipped over, and we'll have to lock it up every day. It'll just be another part that we'll have to manage at some level. My fear is that it gives us a little bit more of an air of being a public community golf course instead of a more upscale facility that we're working towards. So, but I mean, if we decide to do we can manage it, and we've kind of figured out a way to lock it up. But again, it's going to be a service. It's something that's going to make. I mean, it's really something that's going to make $100 a year. Yeah.
And my inclination would be that water is going to hydrate better than any soda is going to hydrate.
And we have water. And
so as long as we have water available at the restroom, I'm not sure a vending machine is a good thing.
Well, I'm kind of torn both ways about it. I'd like to have the revenue, and I'd like to have a chance to, but on the other hand, I don't know if I want to manage something that's going to make maybe $100 a year. That takes a ton of my staff's time.
And could easily run up more than $100 in maintenance expense.
Or vandalism.
Be another set of eyes out there when you lock it up, though.
There you go. Yeah, that's true.
I don't care. Whatever.
I'm with you. Whatever we decide.
If you do it, you have to have it where you can secure it.
Yeah.
The issue with the ones before was they were on Turtle Run 14. They were behind a graded thing that the kids could break into, and there was nobody there to watch them and no cameras. So you didn't know who did what to who. But I don't care. Whatever.
Yeah, I just think we ought to decide if we're going to have the vending machine or not, and then try to vote on this thing and get it going. It's just...
I mean, without the vending machine, it's probably the overall structure will probably cost a few dollars less, just because of the square footage.
So 8 feet difference.
But whatever you decide on, I'm okay.
Can we call Drew or something and find out how close it is to that lot? I'm telling you, we have all driven on the cart path going to Columbus, and if you're telling me it's 30 yards or whatever to the lot, I'm telling you that's not correct. We've all driven the wrong way.
Look at the scale on the bottom,
I don't care
Ray.
what the scale says. I'm telling you.
It's 100 feet.
It's going to be kissing the lot.
He's stalling.
It's 100 feet. It's an inch. Whatever. We can wait.
Well, again, this is not going to be voted on. This is a discussion.
So we need to get staff
Go ahead and
guidance. So if this is not, if this location were deemed to not be sufficient space from existing lots, what would be the alternative as to where we could place it?
As I understand it from talking to Drew, there is no alternative.
We don't have an alternative.
Unless you go into the Scrub Jay Sanctuary, which then you have to get Florida Fish and Wildlife and everybody else to bless it. Probably not going to happen, and certainly not going to happen quickly. So it's either here or not at all. Unless there's something I don't know.
Well, obviously, we can sort out the question Ray has around the distance and get that finalized. The vending machine discussion relative to vandals that go out there and steal ice and cups. Why would we think they wouldn't want to vandalize machines with cash in them?
Okay, the bathroom location will meet the setbacks. He's saying it's 50 feet from the corner. Can you pull that? From the southeast corner, it's 50 feet to the front of the restrooms location. See where the southeast corner is of the lot? Yeah, right there.
So you're saying it's 50 feet, not 100 feet?
He says right at 50 feet.
And that meets the requirement?
Corner. Yes, it meets the required setbacks.
I'm not saying that it doesn't fit in the area that he selected. I never said that. What I said was it's going to impede on selling that lot because it's too close. That's all I said. But if nobody feels that's a problem.
And we're going to do our best to camouflage it. I know that Cliff and I have talked through that about what trees are there, what trees can we keep, what palmettos can we keep, what can we do to landscape that area to really cover that restroom the best that we can.
Can you move it closer to the 10th tee, which would be further from the lot?
You mean where the pavilion is?
Yeah.
You know, it really doesn't fit there without overhanging just by a foot or two into the scrub jay. I mean, it's kind of where the old pavilion was. So shifting over, the old pavilion actually overhangs into the scrub jay right now.
It does. The eastern side of that pavilion actually is right on the border, right where the mouse is, of the scrub jay habitat.
Any further board discussion?
Yeah, I would recommend going without the vending machine, and I think we can cite it in that without a major impact to the property. There are a lot of undeveloped lots. That may not be the first lot that gets developed. Eventually it will or it won't, but I don't think the bathroom may delay its development, but it isn't going to stop it from being developed.
All right, 53 feet.
Any further board comment? Any public comment? Okay. Add-on items, I believe we have Ray Hornick here.
Good morning. For the record, I'm Raymond Hornick, here to ask formally for a payment option for our water tap fee for the Magnolia Gulf Villa project we're building currently on Sun and Lake Boulevard. Our water tap fee is somewhere around $90,000, and what we're asking to do is to be able to pay that payment in 2 payments instead of 1 up front. 50% up front we would like to pay, and we would like to then pay the balance after we have completed 12 permits. So before the 13th permit would be issued, we would then owe the balance of the impact fee.
What would you anticipate that timing to be for the lots?
If I knew that, I'd be retired and not here. I think things are going to go pretty well, but it's hard to say. We don't know. In the current environment, we don't know who's going to be the idiot in the White House next week. So I can't tell you. But the way things are going, I anticipate things to go well.
Okay, I think
We have sold 6 units on the corner of Sunrise Drive, basically the same units, and not as good a location, in my opinion, in just over a year. Every one of them sold before they were completed.
I think the concern that we expressed at the last meeting when we discussed this without you here was whether or not we could have a time frame where if you didn't sell the lots within that time frame, you would need to pay, so that we're not hung out there forever.
Well, certainly open to that, and we could use any help that we can get. We have an enormous investment out there already, and we'd like to use a little bit of these funds for more landscaping and advertising to get it off the ground and up and running quickly.
So what would you think would be a reasonable time frame to put in there as the sooner of the sale of the 12th lot or the...
I would say 18 months. If I'm not that far along in 18 months, we got problems.
Ray, we discussed a bond or just something to protect us, and I think that's all this board is looking for, just protecting us from, God forbid, anything bad happens to you out there. So we're probably open to what you think we can do, but we as a board have to make sure that Sun Lake is protected and those kind of things. So we're
okay. I don't know how I would get a bond. I've never received a bond for any project. I don't know what it is that would satisfy the board. We can look into it, but I would be starting from scratch. I have no idea. I will say that 50% down would cover 23 and a half of the units. There's 47 units there. And if we put a developer agreement together between the district and the developer that says that we will not issue a 13th permit until the balance is paid, there are 12 that have already been paid for that are not built. So the district is ahead of the game in any scenario.
Well, I'm certainly in favor of doing it. I just want to get it worked out for both of us. And I have no idea about what the bond costs are and stuff too, but I certainly am 100% behind anybody that's doing what you're doing, but I think you understand we have to...
You want to be paid.
We want to make sure that we're protecting Sun Lake at the same time, so...
Any ideas from somebody else smarter than me? And I don't know why I'm looking at the lawyer.
Well, we talked about a bond. We talked about a letter of credit last time. I mean, I don't know with the way the development is designed if a lien would particularly work. But I think a bond or letter of credit is.
I think we could probably do a letter of credit, possibly.
That would be the simplest thing.
Okay. I'll talk with the powers that be.
And if I remember correctly, the 50% payment down covers all the district's expenses. So.
Yeah, but I'm not opposed to what he's talking about, a developer agreement. If you would opine that's either way. We want to help you.
Okay.
Yeah,
well,
it's good for you.
Yeah, 18 months.
Yeah, it's good for you. It's good for us.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I've heard for years the development wants and the district wants growth, so
Exactly.
you need more members on the golf course, and I don't know of a better way to bring them in here than what I'm doing.
Yep. And if you just get with them...
yeah, we can draw it up where it's, just like we talked about, it's after the 12th permit or...
There will be no more. There will not be a 13th permit issued until you receive the remainder of the 50%.
We can do that.
Okay.
Or a letter of credit. I mean, whichever's easier for you. The bank
Sounds like that's easier to me.
Okay.
Yeah, well, just you guys take care of it.
As long as the residents of Sun Lake are protected, we'll do anything we can to help.
Yeah, I think they're protected just in the fact that they're getting 50% of it down, and we're only going to do 12 of them. And you're not going to let me do the 13th one.
Yeah, I agree.
And I don't make my profit until I get to the last 13, so I'm in a hurry to get there.
I agree. We'd rather have the argument up front than halfway through, though. That's the only issue.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
Anything else?
Yeah, we'll bring something back.
Okay.
Very good.
Okay, good.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Ray.
Thank you. Petitions and communications.
None?
Staff reports.
I'll go first. We had over 900 watch orders done last month, 177 code enforcement citations sent out. We are working on painting all the roads and stuff now. We started that. We do it every year. We do a lot in-house, and we do sub some out. But right now, our project right now is painting all the stop signs and the crosswalks and things like that. I've met with Drew about the parking and the speed. So right now we're in the process of bringing something back to the board, probably the next meeting or the meeting after that, to give you prices on what we're going to suggest to do. So that's where we are with that. We've got prices on speed signs, speed bumps, speed cushions. So we're going to bring everything back within a meeting or two. So
I thought we were going to have a meeting with the people who petitioned for speed bumps, a separate meeting. That's what we discussed.
Right, but I thought we were going to get some prices first before we do that. I thought we were going to meet with the different...
We're going to bring a proposal to the board about what our recommendations are for these areas in the community before we do any meetings with the community leaders or HOAs. We are also going to bring back pricing on the mobile unit.
Right, exactly, yeah.
Yeah, so we've had multiple meetings already on these issues, and we're going to probably bring something back at the next board meeting.
And you anticipate that being when?
The next board meeting?
Huh?
Oh, I'm sorry. October 27th meeting or 25th?
Yeah.
Sorry. So the board is looking to us to recommend what we as management would recommend for the areas of Cremona, Cortez, Sunrise. We're also looking at Cantoria. Anywhere else I missed?
No. Okay. Those are what we're looking at right now.
So just to clarify, the concept would be that you would bring these proposals back to the board, and then we would have a meeting with the communities to decide if this is the right fix?
Yes.
Yes.
That is correct. We want to show the board that we're, what we recommend.
Which gives us some concept of cost when we're talking with the community.
That's right. Yes.
I thought they were $12,000 a thing, right?
Well, that was just the price on the...
Well, right now we're getting different prices of different types. There's some that are on solar. There's some that are on a backward trailer. So we kind of look at, all our options right now. So
They're also much more expensive.
I know how you like options, Ray, so we're trying to give you as many as we can get.
They're also much more expensive if you have the opportunity to take a picture and send a ticket, which we would have to get approval from the county, assuming that we wanted it and assuming that we could. So you wouldn't want to spend the money for that.
Exactly.
Unless you...
Right. And there's many different kinds, which I didn't realize. And as we've been researching, we're finding that out.
So we've changed our position from the last meeting. Now we're going to have another presentation, and then we're going to get together with everybody. The last meeting we said we're going to sit down with them, have a special meeting, and give them an option, and let them decide. I believe that's what
When
happened.
it comes to financing, I think we should present this to the board as what our options are for management before we go to the HOAs. I still want to meet with the HOAs. That's absolutely, I think it's necessary, but if the board just says we're just going to put in speed tables, then that's our direction to the HOAs. But I want the board to see what we are recommending for those areas before we move forward with our.
So within those areas, you're going to include those 3 petitions that we received to be addressed.
Correct. Yes.
And the thing about the tickets, that would go through the sheriff, right? It wouldn't go, or would that go to the commissioners again?
Yeah, we'd have to check into that as what our options are. If the district's going to issue tickets, we don't have authority to do that. So if that's something that we
Right.
would want to do. We obviously we need to talk to the sheriff's office, and maybe we can work out something with them where we would buy the machine and they would control the ticketing part of it. So
Okay.
we're just going to work all that, figure that out.
Can we work on all that before we have another meeting on this? So when you guys come to us, we'll have everything?
Yep, that's what we're working on now.
Huh?
That's what we're working on.
Okay.
Good morning. Operationally, working on end of year right now, so I'll be closing end of year here in the next week or so. So that's taken up a little time. The new membership program, we've sold 16 of the new memberships so far. So that's good. I have a kind of a mailer that it's dropping actually today in some of our key competitors' neighborhoods. I've kind of staggered them a few, so it kind of happens in the next 2 or 3 days. So I expect to sell a few more here in the next few days. So that mailing hits today, starting. The project, everybody's kind of seen the lanai now. It's kind of 99% finished. We've still got a few little loose ends. There's a few speakers to be done and a little bit having to do with the point of sales, but the lanai is virtually finished. The kitchen, all the work inside is done. They finished the flooring and the epoxy this morning, so it's drying right now. So we really can't get on it for a couple of days. We're starting Sunday to start occupying the space. So we'll start dry storage and other types of storage. The coolers, they haven't fired up yet. The cooler's supposed to fire up on Monday, and I really need them to run for 2 or 3 days before I start using them as well. Monday is also the day that all the equipment shows up. So they're here for 3 days to install all the equipment. We should be really complete 17th, 18th. We're planning on opening. That of course that falls on a Friday and a Saturday. So we plan on just kind of soft opening on that Monday at 11 o'clock, the 21st, I guess. And we're not going to have much fanfare really opening. We're just going to open slowly and kind of let it happen a little bit more organically and kind of get our sea legs first, and then after 5 or 6 days we'll really start advertising and using a lot of social media and start pumping it out. So we're nearing the end, thank goodness.
Were we able to retain most of our staff?
We've retained 100% of our staff.
Fantastic. That really is good. New menu.
New menu is virtually complete too. It's just really not printed up yet. We're kind of finishing revamp the wine program a little bit. It was so successful last year, and really that's kind of all that's really changing right now.
Have you gotten anywhere about the paint?
Oh, the ceiling?
Yeah. I brought up to them that the ceiling looks a little weak now that they painted all the walls.
Yeah, and I agree. After we've kind of finished up and we've seen all these really nice, shiny new finishes, it made the ceiling look a little bit dingy. And really, the timing of it was just unfortunate. I asked our painters to kind of look at and give us a price about what does it take to go ahead and start working on the ceiling. Well, that styrofoam product that's been sprayed up there is 8 or 9 or 10 years old now, and if you just touch it, it just crumbles off in your hand, just kind of like an old, ceiling. And we weren't able. We tried to roll it. We weren't able to roll it, so it's going to have to be sprayed. And to spray it and to get it done, First of all, he said, I don't know if I can get it done within the next month. Our painting contractor wasn't able to do it. He said it's going to be kind of stupid expensive. It'll at minimum $15,000, probably a lot more. He just hasn't given me a full, an honest quote yet. So, but we wouldn't have gotten done in time for the wedding I have tomorrow, or the Advent Health group that I have on Tuesday, or the member group that I have on Friday, or the other group I have on Saturday after that. I mean, I have 4 events next week. So it's, other than it being kind of expensive and kind of beyond our scope, we really didn't talk about the ceiling ever. It's just going to have to turn into something that we're going to have to decide on and maybe look at next summer. Because it's going to be a, and once it gets sprayed, I'm not 100% sure that we're not going to want to reapply some other product. We're going to have to we may have to figure something out. I'm not even sure. I don't know. Maybe it's just conjecture on my part, but I'm not sure it's even helping that much. So we just need to work on it. But it's a huge project that would have brought us 2 or 3 weeks later in opening.
Well, that was noise mitigation was the reason it was sprayed up there.
And it's still pretty noisy in there.
If you spray something on it, that might do away with some of the benefit. So we got to be really careful.
Yeah. So yeah, we need to check with the manufacturer, and I mean I'm not so sure we start looking at maybe. I mean it's been so long. I don't know if and it's never been painted before because we haven't been able to clean. We've been able to clean it without just. If we wipe it too hard, it just disintegrates on us. So we just clean it gingerly.
So we can put it in the budget and do it next summer?
Well,
I mean, something needs to be done with it.
Something needs to be done with it next summer.
I would say look at the alternatives and bring us back a proposal so that we can address it when things slow down again a little bit. But I think from what it sounds like, we need to address something that will not only look cleaner, but also perhaps better address sound than the current process.
Absolutely right. Yeah, I agree.
I do have one other question. I thought Mike was going to ask this question. You want to ask it?
Well, I got an email that I qualify for a half-off discount for my membership, and I already paid it.
I got one too.
Well,
I did too.
Or was that just a mass thing? Or?
It was something to all the residents, you know. And if you've ever been a member in the past, you're not eligible for the new discount. So it's only available for brand new people, and it's a special to just attract new members.
Wait, mine says congrats. You've qualified for 50% off your membership. That's probably not a good thing to tell us.
Read further.
Huh? I'm serious. We shouldn't send something out that says that when it's not true.
It's in the fine print, I assume.
Yeah, of course.
I didn't get one, so I'm hurt.
It's the headline. It's the headline on the email. I think we shouldn't send it out again.
Okay.
I have one question. Of the 16 new members that this program has brought in, how many are Tanglewood residents?
I don't know exactly, but about half is my guess. 8 or 9.
How is the membership drive going? Are we doing okay compared to last year? I mean, we're past the October one.
Yeah, we're way past money's collected right now. We're a couple $100,000 past where we were last year.
When you can, give us an update on. I mean, I'm sure you have records from last year.
But that's just a cash flow thing. But yeah, people signed up earlier this year than they ever have.
Oh, they did. Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
I mean, that's really all it.
So you feel comfortable that you're going to get the numbers that you're looking for in the budget?
I'll hit that number.
I'm sorry?
I will hit that number.
Good.
Thank you.
Ariel, you have anything?
As far as updates on events we have coming up, next Friday, the 18th, is our Trick or Trot 5K. I want to say we're at about 100. I think we're right at 100 signups, which is really good. Last year we had a substantial amount of signups come in on the day of, so I'm anticipating that number obviously to be higher once the actual race commences. Not really. My last conversation with Susan with WDM was last night about 7 o'clock. She said we had submitted a couple more changes, or mainly verbiage-wise, on the website. She said the changes are made. She said we're just going through and getting the final images in. We're ready to go live as soon as you get the approval.
Ready to go live when?
As soon as we get the approval. As soon as she gets the approval from us to go live with the website, they're ready with these images in.
Did you check out that one picture on Pool and Fitness?
We need to update our pictures once we have some, new pics of the restaurant and some other things, and probably the one that Mr. Brooks is speaking of, we can certainly update it to where it looks more like an actual pool. So we're going to work on the photography on that landing page.
So we're going to wait to roll it out until we get all the new pictures, or no? We're going to roll it out.
We need to go ahead and roll this out. Yes.
We'll roll it out, and then it's a very easy fix for them. So we just send them the photo, and it's uploaded immediately.
We're going to send the thing up in the air. The drone up.
We
But
have
the pictures that the drone took show the restaurant as it's not. It's before.
right. So once that's finished, then we'll work with Cliff, and whatever photography we get for the restaurant, we'll definitely update that on the website so that we have the most recent pictures of the new restaurant on the website.
I think Ray's specifically talking about the drone footage.
The drone footage, because it shows the restaurant. It starts with the restaurant, the back of the restaurant, which is not.
Oh, are you referring to like the video, like the marketing video?
Yeah. The video's wrong.
We don't know yet. We have to discuss that internally. I mean, there is a fee to that. We have contacted a local photographer. I think we'll have some really good photos from her. So we'll determine that internally, how we'll put that together. We don't have those details yet.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think we ought to change it. I mean, we're not going to redo the restaurant, hopefully in the next 10 years, so we ought to get the right aerial in. No? Okay.
Who pulls the trigger? Who gives them the
I agree
approval?
100%. We don't have those details today. That's all I'm saying. We don't know if we're going to do a drone or if we're going to do our actual photographer. Some of the drone footage we absolutely can still use. So we'll talk about it.
Okay, my question was, who is the approver? Who gives them the go-ahead to go live?
I think at this point it would, I guess staff, because I know that you guys have received the link, correct, to kind of check through, and we've asked that if you had any edits or any updates or any suggestions that you send those into Tanya, and then we've been sending those directly into Susan and making those updates as they've come in. At that point, we'll kind of do one last run through, check out the pages, checking for accuracy, checking out the photos, making sure it's good to go, and then we go live. The good news is it's very easy to fix that, not fix or change or update anything at any moment. It's a matter of a split second. Susan and the team at WDM have been very quick and responsive as far as making these changes on the website when we sent them to them.
How is that page for the developers and builders, is that ready yet to be looked at? I didn't see anything last time I looked.
No, that one is not ready. That's going to require a little bit more before we're able to.
Well, at the next board meeting, we're going to need a public hearing to adopt the rates for the developer and for the real estate page, along with some other advertising rates for newsletters. So that will be a public hearing at the next meeting. Before we can actually advertise anything on our website, we need to be sure we have our rates in place.
Did we ever find out if anyone had actually contacted realtors?
If anyone had contacted realtors.
If you recall, Mr. Sir was very upset because he was getting calls from other realtors saying that they had gotten calls. He was here at the last meeting.
Our marketing company did not contact realtors, so I don't have any of those details, and I'm no knowledge of what who was calling who or anything.
It's another vicious rumor, right?
Yeah, we just somehow have to make sure that if that's going on, that our realtors here and our developers here are, you know, I'd like you to tell them first. And the heck, you know, not the heck, but we need to make sure that we contact our people that are doing stuff here.
Absolutely.
Okay.
General Counsel report.
Okay, I had a conversation with Mr. Capco of Lewis Longman Walker earlier this week. He's finishing up the research on the Fifth Third and Tanglewood issues, and he promised me that we would have a opinion letter by the end of no later than the end of the month. And I've stressed that the next board meeting was on the 25th, and so hopefully we're going to have it in time for the next board meeting, but definitely by the end of the month. Also, I sent out a email to Stephen Braun of Tanglewood about the DFC foreclosure sale that's coming up in December, and I know Tanya also sent him some additional information, just basically letting him know when the sale is going to be and giving him some information on the property. Litigation and foreclosure reports will be at the next meeting, but I did want to let you know we have a potential litigation issue with KW Controls. They were a subcontractor on the wastewater, the water treatment plant electrical upgrade. He did some design work and then walked off the job, and he's now asserting that he is entitled to be paid for the work that he did do, but it didn't actually benefit the district at all. We had to hire another design company to basically do everything from scratch because it required a guarantee, and they weren't going to guarantee the work that that person had, KW Controls, had done. So we're getting some information from the engineering company that did perform all of the work. It basically states that none of those drawings that he did were used, and once I turn that over to his attorney, I'm hopefully it'll make the litigation go away. We had Tanya went to the meeting at the Board of County Commissioners regarding our requested change for the ordinance about the election process after an appointment. There were some concerns raised by the county attorney, and so I'm in the process of preparing a letter requesting information from the Attorney General, and hopefully when that we'll get a response from the Attorney General's office, and that will address those concerns, and then that can move forward.
Was that lady, the lawyer, supposed to be supporting us with that presentation that she made?
I don't know about supporting. I thought I had a conversation with her before that, and I thought that we had worked out all the issues, but I guess...
Because I listened to the recording, and
didn't sound like...
Although Tanya did very well. You did very well.
So, the
Carmichael was not in our favor at all.
The stuff that it surprised me because I thought we had addressed all that in the phone conversation that we had, but I guess that wasn't the case. So we're going to go to the Attorney General.
I have a question on Unit 12. Mm-hmm. If Tanglewood wins the bid, are we going to be under obligation of the current existing deal that we have with them, or are we able to change it to where we don't get raped?
Well, that would be a new. Yeah, that would the existing agreement is for specified land. So this would be outside that agreement. So I don't know what
the agreement states Unit 12, isn't it?
I don't know specifically that it states just Unit 12. I think it's the portion. It
said Unit 9 and Unit 12. So I assume if they were to buy, could they come back to us and say, we bought Unit 12, it's in our agreement?
No.
Are we sure?
Yes. Yes, I'm sure of that.
Okay.
So it'd be a negotiation process to provide them water, sewer, et cetera.
Correct. How they would want that, we'd have to work out some sort of plan with them because it's currently platted a certain way. We don't know if they are the winning bidder, if they'll keep that plat, if they'll replat it. We don't know what'll happen. So.
Yeah, my concern is more, is that going to burn up all of our sewer capacity? What's it going to cost us in the future? Because there's a lot of little lots in there.
Have we set a date for the meeting? We're supposed to have a meeting prior to this auction. Have you guys got a first?
It's going to be the day before. It'll be a Tuesday The bid, the foreclosure bid is on Wednesday, December 4th, so it'll be December 3rd. We'll have that meeting.
So we're going to have a meeting here at 9 o'clock on December 3rd?
It'll be a special meeting. We'll get it advertised.
Yeah, but just so we know, so I can put it on my calendar.
Do you prefer a morning or evening meeting
I don't care.
for that?
So Tuesday, December 3rd,
9 o'clock.
9 o'clock.
General Manager's report.
We have a landowner election, at our possible landowner election for the January 24th, 2020 landowners meeting. I sent out an email to the board, and we will also be putting or advertising, or not advertising, allowing the community to know about this through our newsletter. Each person seeking to qualify for election of the landowners must submit a written declaration to the district office between November 23rd and December 23rd. So that is the process, and we will not know if we have an election until after the December 23rd date. If you have any other questions on procedures or ballots or anything like that, please feel free to reach out to me or Chrissy. We have that information at the district office.
Your email indicated that we, by the 26th, had to have somebody identified for running the special election, even though we don't know whether we're going to have an election?
Well, I've reached out to Supervisor of Elections, Ms. Penny Ogg, to be our consultant in the case that we do have an election. I haven't heard from her yet, but several years ago she also agreed that if we needed her, she would absolutely be there. So I haven't formally heard from her, but she would be our consultant in that
But you'll
case.
have somebody identified for our next
Absolutely.
meeting?
Yes, sir. As I mentioned, the next meeting will have a public hearing to adopt our rates for our real estate leads, our developers, and then, of course, our newsletter advertising. So I'll have that by the next meeting.
I have a couple of questions for you. Where are we on the website document retention that we discussed a couple of meetings ago? You guys were going to get back to us?
We're still working on a few things, maybe by the next meeting. Well, actually,
So we've gotten a quote from the vendor on all the minimum standards for all the documents that we discussed. The next step will be we're going to take down all PDF documents, upload those that have been remediated, and then start adding from that point. So as soon as I get that quote back, I'll send it to the board if you guys want to see it.
Well, I thought we were going to hear your recommendation on we're going to keep this document so many years, this document.
Well, we're going to start off with the minimums that we all discussed at that board meeting. Then after that, I'm going to get another quote to add, let's say, another 3 years worth of budgets and financial documents. And then the board can decide if we want to spend $5,000 to enhance this or $10,000. But we're going to start off with the minimums that we all discussed.
We'll bring it back to you, absolutely, yes. We're just not, we don't have all that pricing together yet.
Correct.
So,
Okay.
yeah, we'll bring it back to you.
And we are going forward with the closed captioning, right? Correct. That we're doing?
I'm actually just got done doing the first 13-minute trial to see about the closed captioning. So I've been, unfortunately, in the midst of some things, so I haven't been able to complete the whole process. The video itself with the closed captioning is done. I'm just going to format the transcript received from the trial version. So once I get that done, I'll be able to bring it to you guys.
Okay. Where are we on Advent Health? They made a presentation a month ago, and we haven't had a conversation on it at all since then.
I'm planning a workshop here soon. It's just that we have to put together some information for that. I'd like to have the workshop prior to the end of the year.
I'm sorry.
Workshop? We decided to have a workshop to discuss.
For Advent Health?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll let you know.
Isn't it just a question of deciding how much money, if any, we want to give them?
No, it's a question of what level of sponsorship, if any, we want.
Didn't I just say that?
No, because it's not just how much money, it's what we want to sponsor, if anything. There's different rooms, there's different levels, there's banners. It's a question of if we want to get involved in the funding, in what way do we want to get involved?
There's also a question of what you can negotiate as for residents of the district
Right.
to pay them for membership in the thing. So, I mean, it's more than just giving them so much money.
So we're going to have a special workshop for that. Okay.
Just in addition, to make sure everybody's aware, I picked up this past week that Domino's was being sued over their website and took it to the Supreme Court, who declined to rule on it until the lower court has ruled. They basically said the ADA has a right to try to make their case in the lower court, and depending on how that comes out, they will decide whether they want to hear it at the Supreme Court, because the bottom line is the ADA requirements were written before there was an internet, and now the rules of internet and ADA are up in the air, and it may end up with the Supreme Court before it all gets resolved.
And it's going to cost Domino 7 figures to fight it.
Yep.
You can bet on that. So we need to be proactive, and I think that's appropriate. You guys are doing what we need to do.
Anything else? Unfinished business?
None.
New business?
None.
Committee reports?
None.
Public comment?
Got stiff sitting there. A couple things. Cliff, do me a favor and get a hold of the Sonic Creek people. They may have a way of finishing it. That Sonic Creek was put up there for sound deadening. If you paint it, you might mess it up.
David,
get a hold of them and
you need to identify yourself for the record.
Do what?
You need to identify yourself for the record.
Dave Halbig, resident. Get a hold of them and see if they got a way of refreshing that. It might be a way to do it rather than ruin it. So it's Sonicrete. I forget I don't know if it's a 3M company but just Google them up and I'm sure you can get some advice from them. I shouldn't do this, but I want to make a comment concerning Supervisor Gilpin's off-point comment about everything being questioned. You know, the main purpose of the board is to control the funds generated by the district, and frankly, I applaud anybody on the board that does the research and comes prepared to ask questions. Anybody in the audience, I want to applaud them as well. It's obvious some of you are prepared, some of them aren't, but things don't need to be rubber stamped. If there's questions should be asked and questions should be answered. Thank you.
Additional public comment?
Good morning. Good morning. Javita McKinney, resident. I guess he was just saying you shouldn't have to apologize for doing your job. But all of you are doing an excellent job. I just wanted to announce, which I shouldn't have to, but I wanted to share that my house got painted, so it looks great now. And the landscaping is getting upgraded there. And a project manager that I know of, personal interest, wanted to know about those other foreclosures. How does he get the information on those? They were mentioned in a meeting, I think, a couple of months ago. Is that on the website for the HOA or?
You talking about the DFC foreclosure, the big?
I don't know. Something
or individual ones?
It was something that was in another meeting, and I don't know all the details. I think the individual ones or I don't know. I don't know what specifically to ask for. I just got a text to ask about it. I'm sorry.
Is it about the county lots? like Highlands County, the lots
Possibly.
that they're trying to sell here within the district?
Yes, ma'am.
The vacant lots?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, yes, the lots that are for sale are listed on the Highlands County Board of County Commissioners website.
All right.
Specifically, it's under, we can help. If somebody's interested, we can certainly
Send
help
them
in
to
our
your
office.
office.
We can show that person, whoever it is, would like to see.
And the website is the Highlands
County Board of County Commissioners.
Board of County Commissioners.
I think it's under
No worries.
purchasing or budget purchasing. There's a little menu there, but.
I think they'll
we
take
can-
it from there.
Okay.
But if they need to come to the office, that's okay
We
too?
can certainly show them, yes, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you, guys.
Any additional public comment?
Tom Posty, resident. I listened to the recording of the previous meeting, last meeting, where discussion came up about the possibility of exploring a contact with the county for looking at going to popularly elected seats for the entire board. I'm curious to know if there's going to be more discussion about that. I listened to the county meeting, and it seemed as though there was a tremendous amount of confusion about what we're actually asking for. And is there any intention to pursue that any further? It sounds as though they're indicating that they want to approach the Attorney General with the information that's already at hand. My concern is that if everything's not on the table when we make that approach, there could be other things that could come into play with regard to some of the issues that we've already faced. As you know, we've had 9 vacated seats since we went to the $1 one vote, and that's in the last 4 years. Actually, the 9th one is upcoming. I understand we're about to lose one of our current board members, and that being the case, we could be looking at 4 new supervisors by next November. I believe that Mr. Gilpin's seat is up this January. I believe Mr. Brooks' seat will be up for election along with Mr. Branson's next year. So that being the case, I think before the county goes to the Attorney General to open up the book and come back with a conclusion that may or may not fit what the case is within a year from now, perhaps we ought to have some more discussion before that happens. And that's Is there been any more thought on the board or any discussion about going forward with any of that at this point in time?
Tom, I can tell you, I don't care if we do that. I mean, I've been here the 4 years. I'm the lone survivor from 4 years ago. Mm-hmm. And it's been an issue to some people, and I never thought it was that big a deal, but I'd be in favor if that's what the majority of this board wants. We should start on it, because once we get into lawyers, we haven't had too good a luck when it comes
agree.
to us going to the county. So
I agree. This $1 one vote seemed to be the answer to a lot of previous problems that we had, but since that happened, we have not had one landowner vote or even one popular vote cast for anybody that's here on the board right now. I mean, there's been some appointments since...
Actually, that's not true. I was appointed for a 90-day period and then was elected.
Yeah.
I'm talking about from the public, Dan.
Yeah.
I think that came... Weren't you appointed by the other board members?
But then I stood for election in January following that.
But there was no competition. That's my point.
well, there won't be, Tom, if it's the way it's set up.
Well, I know that, and that was an unintended consequence. the fact that people can run for the board without even approaching anyone in the public and campaigning and put out a campaign statement of what they want to do and what they don't want to do and appeal to the public for a vote, that certainly wasn't the intention when that $1 one vote
Because I know that,
was put in place.
that Tanglewood at one time had gotten, I think there's people would be interested, but I think they got 3 calls. It said, are you supporting somebody when I ran? And they said, yes, we're supporting Mike Gilpin. Well, why would you run? If the way it's set up.
Exactly, exactly.
So I think there's interest. And if it makes some people happy, I mean, I don't mind if my seat was popular or this, but you can't say people aren't interested, but the way it's set up now,
Yeah.
there's no reason for anybody to run.
Well, and another thing, the one thing that happens just in looking at the timing, our landowner seats are elected in January, and because of the timing, they're always in an off-election year.
That's 5 minutes.
Can I request just a few more minutes? I guess all I'm asking for is that there be possibly a workshop or a committee appointed or something to try to work this out to see if there's some improvements that we can make along those
How
lines.
about this? How about if I put a motion on the table that we change the current composition of 3 and 2 to 5 and 0 popular elected seats? Anybody want to second that?
I'll second it.
Whoa.
We can bring it back as a resolution.
We might as well get started on it if that's what the majority of the board wants. I mean, if they don't want that.
I mean,
then-
based on what President Branson said at the last meeting, I thought about it, and I happened to be in agreement with him, and I was going to bring it up before Tom did, but this is fine anyway.
I don't know that I have an issue with it, but I think we need to make sure we understand the ramifications of what we're doing. I don't want to be back in another position just like we are because you did something you thought was right and now it's wrong. So you could get there again. And I'd like to make sure that staff has looked at the situation and says, okay, we're good with this.
If I may, I'd just like to just comment that was my concern, that if a letter is written now to the Attorney General without having gone through this exercise, if we're going to do that, we should ask for a delay in the timing of that letter.
The letter is not about that. The letter is about our ability to replace.
To replace. That has nothing to do with 3.
Well, I understand that, but it just seems as though we normally in the past we did not try to go to the county every other year and with changes. I mean, if we're going to make a change, what we're looking at would be possibly a sweeping change, and I just thought the timing would be right to bring the county involved or let them know that we're working on it. So anyway, thank you.
Well, Tom, I wouldn't want it to be part of what we're trying to do now because it's more important for me right now to be able to replace with elected officials. And I thought that would go through very smooth. That's the most important thing. We're going to have people on here that haven't been elected, whether it's popular or anything. And
right.
we have it now if you look down. I mean, it's important that we get people elected to this job and
right.
not just put in.
I agree, and I don't want to confuse
Yeah.
the one issue with a bigger issue
Right.
that could be, I mean, that thing could have also, you have to be careful when you get a hold of it, you get the tar baby. You know, once you get a hold of it, you can't turn it loose. And I don't want to delay the one that I think is a slam dunk. I don't even know why we have to ask the Attorney General. I mean,
I don't either, but that was, I think, because of the confusion that took place.
My concern would be whether or not we're creating 2 tar babies that are eventually going to become one bigger tar baby and bringing it all together. Again, I'm confused. We've had a number of issues that have come between us and council that we're going to be taken to the county and should be easy to resolve, and none of them have been resolved.
That's right.
And it's like, okay, there's a communication breakdown somewhere between our council and the county, or our district and the county, that we need to get resolved, and we're going to have, we're currently involved in the one that we've already taken to the county that they're now saying take to the state as regards to appointments, and now we're talking about changing public seat, or landowner seats to public seats, and is the county going to say take that to the Attorney General too?
Yeah, I just don't want to, they got to be separate, Tom. They got to be separate. We got to.
I don't know, I just brought it up. Well, there was a motion.
I think there was a motion and a second.
There needs to be board comment and public comment.
And we're having board comment now.
If I may, there's a motion and a second on the table.
What?
There's a motion and a second on the table. What we need to do is have public comment, board discussion, and then we need to take a vote. Otherwise, we can table the motion, either or.
Yeah, I thought I came up, was asked for public comment, but I'll sit down. I mean, I just, one last thing. When we went to the $1 one vote, the board appointed a committee to do a workshop and conduct public hearings among the residents of the district to get their feelings about it. And I'm also concerned about if this kind of a change is going to be made, I would think that the large landowners ought to be aware that we're contemplating that change as well, and they should be invited to come in and have their say about it. That would be Tanglewood and the hospital. I mean, I'm not sure it would be the right thing to do for us to make a decision that they no longer have a say. We could be leaving ourselves wide open for a real dogfight.
Absolutely.
And so, you know, if we're going to embark on that, is in the form of a workshop and a couple of public hearings to see what the community feels, how they feel about the change, which is what we did when we went to the $1 one vote. I was chairman of the committee. Bob Severino was on the committee. John McClure was the attorney that was appointed. He attended all the public hearings that we had. We had a couple of public hearings, and then we recommended it back to the board. They passed the recommendations. It went to the county, and they put it through unanimously. And I'm just suggesting that we got a couple of issues here. We make it in one ball of wax, get it all buttoned up. It might take us 6 months to get it done. But then go to the county and say, here it is. This is what we like to do. And that's just my 2 cents worth. And I'll sit down and be quiet now. Thanks.
All right, we have a motion and a second, so any board discussion? I'm sorry.
One more point. I hear you. We'll stop the state issue. Okay? I will have the county attorney not give an opinion at this point. It sounds like you all need to decide which direction, and I actually spoke to Mr. Costi and told him, if you'll come to the county with a resolution of just what you want to do, we'll pass it at the Board of County Commission level. And you don't have to go through all this nonsense. But you've got to come up with your final plan. And if it's 2 steps, so be it. If it's 1 step, that's your business. But no offense, but when you get 2 attorneys in a room, they're always going to have a different opinion.
But we've
and it frustrates the hell out of me, too.
So my question is, was the proposal we sent not specific enough?
Not according to our attorney. How's that?
You got to hear the recording. You got to listen to it.
And I'm still not understanding it completely. And I've been over it time and time again. She's saying there's some room for a different interpretation, right?
Right.
And David, I don't think and he doesn't agree. Imagine that. So we're with you. We'll do whatever you want us to do, but you got to tell us what to do.
But you put this other deal in it, which is a whole lot bigger deal. We're talking 6 months to a year before you can ever get to this point.
That's true.
So you're going to delay giving the residents a chance to vote on seats like Neil's, yours.
Yeah. See, that's
all we're trying to do.
We want what we brought to you.
But there's a question how clear that what you brought to us, if it's follows statute according to our attorney.
Fine, but if we
and they are maybe they're not communicating enough. I don't know, but
if we add
that's the issue from the county attorney is she's not sure it's following statutes.
But
and for us, the county doesn't want to get on the hook for not following statutes.
Sure, I get that.
As the manager of the district.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got to figure out, and that's why she thought you get an opinion from the state's attorney.
So
Isn't that right, Dave?
all I'm trying to say is let's go to the state attorney and get this one specific issue done while we work on the other one.
If that's what you all want to do, that's up to you. You tell me. I'll stop it or I'll tell her to get going, either way. Because I'm hearing different opinions.
Well, I didn't understand when Tom said that or Dave, or Tom, that they want to piggyback this on our last thing. I don't want that. I want what we brought to you passed. Because we need to, if we add all this other stuff to it, Neil won't be on the ballot.
But why don't you explain to me what you exactly want to have passed?
That we start the elections for
in November?
Next November for Neil's seat.
Exactly what we presented to the county commission. This is a whole nother issue.
The 5 popular seats is a whole other topic that was brought up by President Branson at the last meeting. What we brought to the county was exactly what they said is we want the voters to be able to vote in the case that there is a next general election for someone that was appointed.
And the way it is now, that can't happen?
The way it is now is when you're appointed, you take the appointment for the rest of the term period. And what was brought to the county was if there's at the next general election, if someone has been appointed to a seat, that seat is now up for election at the next general election.
Right.
But it does not, that's the issue, is that does not track state statute. And that's where the disconnect is with the county attorney.
So you all haven't worked that out? Your opinions?
I thought we had, but then what was discussed at the BOCC meeting was additional stuff, and that's when she started talking about getting a letter from the Attorney General.
We can take the lead. We can take the lead on that Attorney General opinion. We're glad to do that. And he's already, instead of her doing it, we would like to take the lead on that so that we can at least see what the Attorney General has to say as far as the statute goes.
This is what they're talking about is a whole nother issue of going from 2 landowners to...
I understand. I know it's 2 different issues, but I thought we were maybe attempting to do both at the same time. But look, maybe we should get back together, us 3 and Joy, and go over this one more time, and whatever supervisor we need to go there with us. I don't want it to I want to make sure that it's exactly what the supervisors are thinking it is. Okay? So let's do that, and I'll stop Joy and say, let's set up a meeting between us all, and then we'll move forward from there. Okay? Will that work? Okay? With you all?
Very good.
Okay.
Dave Halbig, resident. If any of you guys been around here long enough to know what kind of a mess one of these landowner elections are, when there are more than 2 people running, you know that it's like I think in 2006, in a Highlands editorial, the Hensley called it a farcical. It's absurd and it's ridiculous. A normal transition for a district is 10 years, and we're 45 years old. Normal transition to 5 popular seats. We're 45 years old. It's time we do it. And this board's got more power than you think. All it takes is a vote of 3 of you guys to petition the county to make this 5 popular seats and let the county work out the details. That's all it takes is a petition from the Board of Supervisors to petition the county to make this 5 popular elected seats, turn it over to them, let them work it out. As far as, I think when we changed from $1 1 vote, from 1 acre 1 vote, it blew all the urban density rules, it blew all this statutory stuff away, and you can really do whatever the county's the boss. So that is my opinion, and I think the county will agree that it can happen, and it can happen pretty quickly. We could take Mike Gilpin's seat and extend that to next November and start the process. Thank you.
You could do it that way, but I can tell you, the county wants you to bring what you want to us. We're not going to dictate to you how you're going to do it. So you got it a little bit reversed there, I think. You bring us what you want, then we'll certainly, I would almost guarantee it would pass unless it's against the law.
You got a shot. Can I have a shot, second shot as well? When we go to all popular seats, it's run by the Supervisor of Elections. And that brings in the Florida Code of Elections, Florida Election Code paragraphs that puts us under exactly the same procedures for filling vacated seats that the county uses. That's all in the Florida Code of Election Code. And in so doing, our vacant seats get filled the same way Ron was seated on the county commission when he replaced Jeff Carlson. It gets reported to the governor's office, the Secretary of State, and the governor make a decision, and they fill the seat. Or they call a special election to fill the seat. It's not done by the other board members. So that puts that thing that we've got in the request that we got to the county right now, that sweeps that away if we go to 5 popular seats. I'm not an attorney, that's for David and Joy and them to work out. But that's why I suggest that this be looked at as a bundle, as opposed to getting a decision on whether or not the board can appoint somebody to fill the seat, when that is not kosher according to the Florida Election Code. I believe David could confirm that. But anyway, thanks.
That's exactly what I'm saying, is that we're sitting in here talking about something we don't understand because we don't understand all the implications. I am not going to vote in favor of something until I understand what we're really talking about.
We have a vote.
I would move to table the motion until we have had a workshop and understand the issue more clearly.
Second.
Oh, Jesus Christ. What? I want to vote.
We still have to have board discussion and public comment because there is a second motion on the table.
I would agree. I think waiting is the right thing to do. We don't understand all the ramifications. If Tom's right, it probably makes more sense for it to be one activity, from my perspective at least. So,
isn't the motion just to go forward with this? I mean, that's what a motion is.
The initial motion was to go ahead and do as Supervisor Gilpin had said. Once that second motion to table came on, then that would have superseded it. Am I correct? It supersedes it.
I understood the original motion was to vote to go to 5 popular seats instead of 2 landowners, which is...
Correct. But a motion to table trumps that.
Right.
So now we have to go through Robert's rules, and we have to have the board discussion and the public comment on the motion to table. And then if it goes through and it's tabled, then it's a dead issue until it's picked up again.
It's not dead, it's just tabled.
If it's tabled, what does that mean?
That means that it can still be picked up at a later date.
Oh,
And
do
if,
we have to go through this whole process again?
Yes. This is Robert's rules.
That makes no sense.
and I got to tell you, I second the motion. I understood that that was going to be separate. I didn't know that these, in which I don't care, that these guys are trying to put it on with. There must have been some discussion, because all I was concerned about is the elections that I want people that we appointed done. The other thing is, and if somebody can tell me it won't delay it for 5-6 months, I'm for it. But I probably will vote to table it. So
well, we already have a second.
Yeah.
So now we have to have public comment. Board discussion.
Well, we're having the
And a
board
vote.
discussion on the tabling.
Yeah, we're having it right now.
Right. So, once we get that public comment, I can take that vote.
Public comment.
Call for public comment.
Any additional board comment? Any public comment? Chrissy?
What do we vote, can you tell me what we're voting on?
On the motion to table,
On
to
the
table
motion
this
to table?
discussion.
This is for the 5 popular seats.
No, this is the motion
The
to
motion
table
to table.
the 5.
The
Table the
discussion.
5 popular seats, yes.
So, in other words, there'll be no decision made at all?
Correct.
Well, if
No,
the,
there's no decision made at all?
if the motion to table passes, then the motion would be delayed on your motion would be delayed if the motion to table passes. We haven't had the votes, so we don't know whether it's going to pass or not.
Oh, yes, we have the votes. Oh, Jesus. Go ahead.
Okay. Supervisor Brooks?
I think no.
Supervisor Gilpin?
Yes.
Supervisor Hoteling?
Yes.
Supervisor Stiegel?
Yes.
President Branson?
Yes.
Motion is tabled.
So what do we need to do to schedule a workshop, and who should be leading that workshop? Should we get Penny Ogg or somebody in that can really explain to us this process better? Do we rely on our council, or do we get somebody from the state?
I think we can start putting it together. I mean, because it's basically just going to be eliminating all the landowner stuff, and so. But yeah, I think we need to have a workshop and invite the hospital and invite a representative from the hospital in Tanglewood to weigh in.
Yeah, but I'm also hearing from public comment that if we change to 5 public seats, then the supervisors would no longer appoint replacements, that would go to the state.
Yeah, I'd have to check on that because we're governed by I think it's 189 or the whatever the special districts are governed slightly differently. So I'll have to check and see if we do go to a 5 popular seat. If that's
I just want to be sure that we've got all the facts when we get together for a workshop, so we understand. Because right now we don't. That's why we table it.
We'll put together that workshop.
I think there's a sticking point there in that if you were to schedule that as soon as you could, you'd eliminate all the snowbirds that aren't here, and they're the ones that are going to lose the right to vote. So having a public workshop when the people most affected aren't here might be a little ugly.
I'm sorry. When would we? I mean, aren't the snowbirds coming back now?
So
They're trickling back, but the big influx is January 1.
No, November 1st.
There'll be more in November, more in December. There's a lot of them that don't come down till the first of the year.
So our goal would be to have this as soon as we can. Yes, absolutely.
And again, I'm not saying that's what we have to do, it's just a thought.
But we would also have to make sure that the hospital and Tanglewood are represented as landowners. They pay us a whole lot of money. I guess that's all public comment.
Any further discussion? Any public comment? I'm sorry.
That's already done.
Oh, we already had that, okay. Board-to-board discussion.
I'd just like to clarify, I heard rumors in the community that it's gotten around that my mother moved back to Michigan and fear that I might be leaving the board, and that's not my plan. So just to put any of those rumors to rest.
Thank you.
I heard your mom went to California.
Yeah. She's back at Pebble Beach in Cordoba.
Oh, no, she's in Michigan. If she were back in Pebble Beach, then I might have a different view. I have no desire to move to Michigan, thank you.
If you haven't been down Sunrise Drive, you may not know that there's a for sale sign in front of my house. My wife's fondest desire has always been to live on a lake, we found a house on Lake Sebring and made an offer contingent on the sale of ours. So I don't know for sure, but I might be moving to Lake Sebring, in which case I would no longer be a landowner at Center Lake. That has implications both legal and ethical as far as I'm concerned. But for the interim period, I'm staying on the board, and I'll do the best I can for everybody's situation.
Any other board-to-board discussion? Meeting is adjourned.